Well, good afternoon, hello, welcome back to my little corner of Cumbria, here in the northwest of England, otherwise known as the Lake District, for many good reasons, not least of which because it does rain here quite a lot. When it really rains, it really rains. We had a big storm the other day and it just about washed away our little lane outside. It was amazing. I just wanted to kind of go out in my wellies with a big brolly and just be out in the rain. It was fabulous. So I hope you're all right where you are. Welcome to my channel if it's your first visit. I trust you're all well and life is okay for you. Life is, for me personally, is pretty darn good and I'm very grateful. Things happen, but somehow, we're okay mostly, Life is a thing, isn't it? It's this kind of process. And I often think life is a bit like art, or art is like life. The things I find myself doing in my artwork in terms of kind of showing up for it and making it happen and working with the ideas that come, I don't know, it's a bit like life, isn't it? So today really what I wanted to share with you is I don't know, little kind of stories really, some stories. So you can see here, I don't know if you can see here, I've got the most beautiful gentleman's tweed jacket, okay? And I bought this the other day in a charity shop. I was looking for some fabrics to do some artwork with. We're going to be doing a project based around one of the Lake District lakes, a local, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word, and the only word that's coming to me is glen, which is a Scottish word. Valley is the word I'm looking for, a valley and a lake. And my group that I'm in, called Fabricate, we are doing a little summer exhibition, which we do every year, and we're doing some work based around this particular place. And I've been a few times. It's a place that I don't know that well because I'm not from around here, I'll be honest, but I've lived here quite a long time and I love living here. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And this particular valley, as I say, I didn't know very well. It's not kind of my local valley, but I've been a few times. My husband and I did some walking there recently and I actually showed you some of that on one of my clips. And so I've been a few times just to try and get a feeling for the place because my artwork really comes from here. There are things I have to do to make it happen, obviously, which are to do with my skills and my experience and how I do things. But it's about feeling it. So I've been there and it's all about the history of the place and it's about how humans and the landscape kind of interact. I'm very interested in that. The marks in the landscape that we leave behind from centuries ago and the marks that we're making now and the changes that we have made in the past to the landscape and what we're doing now. So it's all very interesting. So my artwork this time isn't going to be a picture on a wall. It's going to be made into a shepherd's bag. Now, I came across this on a website recently, a local firm that makes a local tweed, and they had a picture of a shepherd with this bag on his side here. So it was just like a messenger bag kind of, but it was a bigger version. And it was the sort of size that you could put his food in for the day or whatever, but he could even put a lamb in it if he needed to carry something off the hill. And I just was fascinated by the idea of this, and it would have been made, looking at it, it would have been something that was made from whatever fabric they had to hand, whatever his wife or his mother, or he might have made it himself, I don't know. I don't want to be sort of sexist about it. It could be something he had made with a very rough strap and just this sort of big bag. Probably, it might have been made from a feed sack or something, I don't know. So I'm going to use this. This is a lovely gentleman's jacket that I purchased recently from a local charity shop where I kind of go and get most of my fabrics from. So I'm putting down my stitch ripper because this is a part of the story today. So yes, this is a beautiful 100% wool tweed jacket, gentleman's tweed jacket, so there's loads of material in it and I'm going to use it to make my bag in some fashion. I'm not sure exactly how. It was on sale, can you believe, for £5, a fiver. So I actually gave them a tenner, which I know doesn't sound much, but it was, they were only asking a small amount. I gave them a little bit more because I just felt that just wasn't enough really to pay for this beautiful jacket. Obviously it's been donated by somebody and whatever money goes to the good cause, and I like that. So I'm going to be cutting this up and using it in some way. I'm going to absolutely devastate it. Now Usually when I get garments from a charity shop, I will just kind of cut into them and I'll just use them pretty directly. But I felt this deserved somehow more respect, if you like. So I've kind of been chopping into it. You can see over here a little bit. I've taken one of the sleeves off. I've unpicked it with my trusty unpicker that my mum gave me many years ago. And it's got the most wonderful things going on inside this shoulder area. It's got padding, it's got wadding, it's got some sort of felted fabric, and I just really love it. I'm quite fascinated by all the layers and all the there's loads of extra bits of fabric in it, and I like the idea that I'm unpicking something with respect because some human hands have made this at some point. You know, somebody has put this together. Yes, they've done it on a machine, it's not a hand-stitched item, but somebody's put this together, some other human, and I'm fascinated to see what I'm going to discover when I find my way in. It was obviously hardly used, I think. It's got no fluff in the pockets or anything. It's perhaps been used just for best, which kind of what we used to do as children. You know, clothes were for best. You had a Sunday outfit for best, and you had clothes for during the week and messing about clothes, Saturday clothes, but you definitely had something best for Sundays and going to tea at Granny's. So it kind of made me think a bit about my dad, actually, because my dad was very particular in how he dressed, largely. You know, obviously when he was being casual, he was pretty casual, but he always liked to look good, and he liked to have smartly polished shoes, just like his father. I remember my grandfather polishing his shoes before he went anywhere. But he bought suits like this, but they were handmade suits made by a tailor. Now, as a young man, he didn't have very much money. His parents didn't have a lot of money. My grandfather used to ride a bicycle. He didn't have a car. So it was a long time ago, very long time ago. And in the Second World War, my dad used to tell tales of Grandpa cycling around with his bicycle, and he would go and sort of win things from people. He would go and barter and win some feed for his chickens. He kept some chickens in the tiny back garden, but they kept some chickens to keep their family fed. And he would go and sort of barter some feed, and he would bring his feed sack back, whatever he managed to get, on his bicycle back home, which was I just love that story. And again, my grandfather was very particular. We're not from rich people, we're not poor, but they didn't have a lot of money, you know. Every penny was counted, and thrift was important. Look at making do and mending, looking after what you had, and always trying to look your best, whatever you had. So my dad, I think the first thing he bought, handmade from a tailor, he saved up his pennies and he bought, I think it would be like what they called a sports jacket in those days, and he would save up his pennies and he would buy a suit. So he would get a handmade suit made by this lovely tailor called Sammy. Dad used to say that you'd go to Sammy's and he would be sitting on a table, sort of piecing things together by hand. And obviously the cloth would be sort of spread out, I suppose, on the table. It was probably quite a good way to look after what he was doing. But it's just fascinating. It's a little piece of history. I wonder how many tailors still sit on a table to do tailoring. So he bought these suits, and right through his life he always wore a suit when he went somewhere smart. Later on in life, obviously, he bought just off-the-peg suits because that was what was available. But he had these suits right until he passed away a few years ago, and you know, he would open up the suit like this, and he could tell you how old it was because it would have a date and the tailor's name written on the little label. And some of those suits were much older than me. You know, it was quite fascinating. So yeah, so we're making do and mending in our family. My mum would make things for us, best clothes. You know, she hand knitted jumpers for school, handmade skirts and pinafores. My grandmother used to make us things, and I remember at Christmas standing in my mum's little sewing room, and she would have you standing there with your eyes shut, and she'd be making you a Christmas present, and it was a dress, and I can remember the dress, I can remember the fabric, and I had to pretend I couldn't see it. And it was so boring, standing there having this hem pinned up, or you know, pins stuck in you as she was trying to pin bits together. But so it was made with love. That was the thing. It was all made with love. And I like to think of the tailor making his things with love. For, you know, they were custom made for each person that he measured up and made them for. So it feels terrible and criminal to be taking this to bits. But, you know, it's for a good cause. And I will get lots of things out of this. And as I say, I'm really respecting the cloth. and I'm respecting the people who made it, you know, by doing this. So the other things I'm upcycling to make my artwork with are a pair of old jeans. I have shown, I don't know whether it's on my YouTube channel, I've certainly shown people me recycling my jeans in the past where I've been patching them up using free machine embroidery to patch my jeans. And my little textile group that I go to where we do handwork. There's a lady there who makes the most wonderful sort of embroidery patterns on her jeans when she sort of upcycles those, and you know, it's making the most of the cloth you've got, isn't it? So I'm using an old pair of jeans that I've cut down, and I'm going to use those for the back, and I'm going to show you. This is one of the legs of the jeans, okay, where I have cut it, and I've turned it into the back of the bag, and I really quite like it. It's still got a seam going down the back there. I thought I might even use them for the front of a bag and do some sort of embroidery on the front. So I'll give you a little glimpse. There is a bit of embroidery there, you can see. I'm not showing it all yet because you know, it is a work in progress, and I kind of like to wait until things are done before I show them off. It's been an interesting process. I mean, the white fabric is the linen shirt that I bought in a charity shop as well. The linen's lovely to work with, I have to say. It's really nice, but it does crease a bit, and I've had to support it with some backing there. So that's a little glimpse into my, ooh, there's another little flash, into what I'm doing creatively at the moment. And it's lovely because it sort of ties in with this idea that the photographer, the shepherd that I looked at, he's actually wearing a suit. He's wearing a suit to go walking around the hillside in, and I guess that's what the working man wore. If you look at really old photographs, I don't know, the 20s and 30s, you wore it whether you were a coal miner or a shepherd or whatever you were. You just wore your suit, and it was a working suit, and it had a waistcoat and everything. And I guess if it was made of wool, it would be quite a practical thing to wear if you're going out in all weathers. And he probably had a sack to put over his head or something when it was raining and horrible. Very tough life anyway. None of our modern fabrics to keep him dry. Let me know in the comments if there are things that you like to upcycle or recycle around your home. You know, what do you do with your old clothing? And you know, do you repair things, or do you just chuck them away? I don't know. It's so hard these days, I think, to know exactly what to do with things. Some things seem to be irreparable. So actually working with cloth is really rather nice because you know you can do something about it. It's quite an empowering thing, I think, to do, to repair your jeans. It's quite a statement to the world saying, well, I'm not just going to throw these away. I am going to, you know, make them usable for something else. So my little jeans where I've cut them off, they're really quite funny, but I'll wear them in the summer. They're quite a thin old pair. They're not as in their pristine condition that they were, but they must be ancient. You know, I've had them years and years, and so I think that's really nice. They're an old friend. So I think that's about all I was going to say today, really. I just got all excited about this jacket. It's so lovely. When I saw it in the charity shop, I just knew it was exactly what I needed. And I'm looking forward to turning it into whatever part of the bag it's going to be. It might be some handles. I mean, they have lovely, I was going to say on their, oh, there's the sleeve coming out. That's the lining coming out of the sleeve. I just love things, the details on these things, the buttons, a row of 3 buttons. Who decided that 3 buttons on a man's jacket was the thing to have? I don't know. Some fashion guru, someone back in time decided that was what you had. And even though they don't do anything, they're just for decoration. It's crazy, isn't it? So thank you for your comments last week. Those of you who left me a comment, I really love it. It's so nice to chat to you. I feel as though it's a real connection with people, even though this is, you know, a made-up format and it's all very, I don't know, strange because it's the internet. It is lovely to connect with real people and to feel that I'm not just talking to myself. It means all the world to me. And I love to hear what you're doing, you know, creatively, and, you know, putting a table in your room to put some artwork on. How lovely is that we're all doing the same sorts of things and making time for ourselves. So I will see you again next week. We'll see what that's going to be, and I look forward to that very much, and speak to you soon. Bye for now.